Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this. Right now, there's this major FUD campaign once again because of the escrow unlock. Here's Ripple escrowed XRP relocked history all the way back to 2024. And you always see how Ripple locks back between 6, 7, 800 million XRP every single month. People still don't understand how Ripple uses the escrow strategically. They just made another acquisition. I'm sure Ripple is going to make even more acquisitions throughout 2025, what's left of it, and throughout 2026 as well. Ripple is emerging as a one-stop shop, emerging as a possible bank in the very near future. And people are still going on and on about the escrow. I don't get it. Everything on the XRP ledger will burn XRP. Facts. Sorry, Maxis, but the white paper specifies this here. Every transaction must specify how much XRP to destroy to pay the transaction cost. The transaction cost is not paid to any party. The XRP is irrevocably destroyed. The Ripple protocol consensus algorithm. This statement applies universally to every transaction on the XRP ledger, not just XRP to XRP transfers. Wait until you see how much XRP gets burnt once we see the rise of tokenization. Because people are still going to be moving those tokenized assets. Everything of value that travels across the XRP ledger is going to burn small amounts of XRP. And people still want 20, 30, 50% of the escrow to be burnt all at once, thinking that's going to skyrocket the price of XRP. Ask Stellar how that worked out with XLM. Critic tells Ripple CTO what XRP is and what XRP is not. First of all, this isn't a critic saying this. This is some guy on X arguing with David Schwartz about XRP and trying to prop up Chainlink at the same time. But David Schwartz, of course, shut him down. Now, I'm not going to go through this whole article, but imagine waking up in the morning and saying, I think I'm going to go on X and argue with David Schwartz about XRP. Think about how nonsensical that actually is. And then to try to get other people to jump on board the argument. David Schwartz has the patent for blockchain that goes all the way back to 1988, and people are still arguing with him in 2025. Ripple had 47 banks in Japan, 90 plus globally, including Santander, Bank of America, and Axis Bank back in 2017. And yet, you still wonder whether instant settlement, not GPI, message forwarding settlement, will be using XRP. The official Ripple post literally says it. The consortium of 47 banks have successfully completed a pilot implementation of Ripple in Japan, enabling real-time money transfers both domestically and internationally. Real-time settlement, not messaging, not a testnet fantasy settlement. And that was posted back in 2017. Yet, here we are in 2025, and Crypto Eddie wants you to believe that banks in Japan are not going to utilize RippleNet or XRP. This has all been documented over the years. And wait until all these banks come out of the testing phase on that private ledger. Ripple RLUSD officially crossed $1 billion market cap across Ethereum and the XRP ledger. You know, RLUSD, it's been non-stop momentum, and I'm expecting that momentum to continue. I can't wait until RLUSD eventually becomes the #1 stablecoin. I still believe that's going to happen. This Black Swan capitalist explains how XRP could reach extremely high prices, up to $10,000. So he says one of XRP's key but often misunderstood features is its divisibility. Specifically, one could divide each XRP into 1 million drops. This means that at even $10,000 per XRP, a single drop would still be worth about 1 cent. This feature allows XRP to remain usable at any price level, whether XRP trades at 50 cents, $500, or $50,000. Transactions occur in drops, ensuring both micro and macro payments remain seamless. This is why the belief that XRP must remain cheap to be useful is a misconception. So the higher the price per XRP, the more liquidity the system can support with fewer tokens. Accordingly, higher valuations can improve efficiency. For example, at $1 per XRP, settling $1 billion requires 1 billion XRP. At $10,000 per XRP, it requires only 100,000 XRP. Then he goes on to cite the $7 trillion settles daily in the FX markets, $600 trillion in global derivatives, $150 trillion in annual cross-border payments. Even if XRP handles just 1% of these markets, the value it must represent is in the trillions. Given its finite supply, the per unit price must rise to keep the network balanced. And I agree with that. Because once you start using XRP at those levels, it can't be cheap. Or one transaction would take the entire supply. Plus, you also got to factor in the lockups that are happening now as well. A lot of XRP is coming out of circulation. We have companies creating treasuries. We have ETFs. We have people that are also holding on to their XRP long term because they want to get passive income from it. With scarcity, the price has to rise dramatically to be utilized and to move the world's money. And that is an absolute fact. And nobody knows exactly when this is going to happen. But the people that right away would say XRP going to $10,000 per XRP is never going to happen, I think they're totally wrong. I think it will happen, but I don't think it's going to happen until a lot of other things happen first. First, Ripple has to capture a percentage of the derivatives market. Ripple also has to capture a percentage of Swift's volume. Maybe it's 10%, maybe it's 15% early on. But I think that's what's going to continue to push the price of XRP up over time. Not just this year, not just next year, but every single year going forward. Because more and more value is going to have to move year over year. Then you factor in tokenization and everything else on top of that as well. Micropayments are going to be one of the biggest deals in this space because micropayments, it's so many payments happening on a daily basis. XRP would be needed to cover that also. Bitwise CEO Hunter Horsley has made one of the boldest forecasts in recent memory for digital assets, claiming that every Wall Street institution will be involved in crypto within the next year. Again, you already see the demand coming from the institutions, and I think he's right. Every institution is going to want to get into this space as soon as they possibly can. I think the lack of regulations keeps a lot of these institutions sidelined right now. Other institutions, they're like, I'm not waiting for regulations. I'm going all in now. I want to get the upper hand on the competition. But over the course of the next year, everything is going to change in this space. People don't realize that yet. They think we're going to go slip into this bear market that's going to go on for years again. I think the 4-year cycle is ending as we speak. Expert says XRP will become the place people store most of their wealth. I don't know if it's going to happen. I already store my wealth in XRP. I pushed away from the bank a long time ago, and all my money is in crypto. Because you think about it, you hold the US dollar. The US dollar keeps losing more and more value. And you're not going to get rich through the bank, let's face it. So I look at crypto as anybody that works a 9 to 5 and they want to make money, they want to get to, life-changing money at some point. Crypto is the only option right now. Think about it. You come in with $20 week over week, and all of a sudden, you walk away with 100 grand. Maybe you walk away with 500 grand or $1 million at some point. Crypto has the ability to do that. And that's why I always looked at crypto as the best solution going forward, because it's the future. The fourth industrial revolution is happening right now. And just wait until we see the rise of AI as well. We're holding the robot money. I stress that in a lot of videos because I want people to understand what they are holding when they're holding XRP. The robots are not going to be transacting in cash. They're going to be transacting in crypto. Black Swan Capitalist, XRP versus Solana isn't even a debate. I can't believe this is even still going on. You have the Solana community and the XRP community fighting back and forth every single day. He says XRP versus Solana isn't even a debate. XRP was built for institutional liquidity. Solana was built for retail applications. Get it together, people. And the problem with Solana is network congestion. It always shuts down. That's the worst part of Solana. But also, Solana was never picked to be part of the new financial system. I think it'll still be around, but it won't be as relevant as it is right now. And this comes from Whale Guru, and I thought this was a great post. The bull market ended in January 2025. We've been in a bear market for 10 to 11 months. Every bounce since was just a trap. Liquidity vanished. Retail disappeared. Only the patient survived. This is the final capitulation. The end of the old cycle. December 2025 begins the next one. A new era of wealth creation starts. If you survive this bear market, you're about to make generational wealth. And I agree. I think we've been in a bear market. And the fact that XRP is still above $2 right now, that also reinforces my idea of XRP just correcting with a pro-crypto administration. I don't think XRP moved at all in alt season. In other words, what I'm saying is alt season hasn't even begun yet, and XRP is already above $2. Where do you think it's going to go from here? But I also think we're on the verge of mass institutional adoption. I'm telling you, when regulations get approved in the United States, when they get passed, we are going to see a flood of institutions in this space. EU plans to give single regulator control over all crypto exchanges. So the European Union is preparing to transform how cryptocurrency exchanges are supervised across its 27 member countries. and they're handing over the power to the ESMA, European Securities and Markets Authority. I could tell you right now, most likely some exchanges are going to be eliminated in the EU. And I think that is coming in the short term. This is, again, is why I'm always telling you, get your crypto off the exchanges. I'm also telling you, any exchange that doesn't do KYC, know your customer, or AML, anti-money laundering, those exchanges are going to be gone in the short term. And they're going to fold up like an overnight event, and a lot of people are going to lose a lot of crypto. Now, Coinbase, they're still going to be around. Uphold, LCX. There's a few others that come to mind as well. But if you go to an exchange and they're talking and up, not doing KYC or AML, I would get my crypto off of there ASAP. Otherwise, there's a chance you are going to lose your crypto, and it's going to come without a warning. You're just going to wake up one day and all of a sudden all these exchanges are going to be gone. It's going to happen that fast. But we're XRP investors, and I'm telling you now, once the breakout begins, you want to be holding XRP. And until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.